Hello, NFL fans, and specifically to Jet fans. I wanted to do a end of a season view. The Jets' performance this year, it was just you wait all season for your team. You go through free agency, you go through the draft. Had a new coach in Glenn. I was really looking forward to the season, and what a disappointing season for Jet fans. So I just want to kind of talk about the disappointing season. I mean, complete embarrassment. To have zero interceptions the entire year, how does that happen? To lose 5 games in a row by 23 points or more, how does that happen? Yeah, just an utter, complete disappointment with the Jets. But there were some good things. Looking on the bright side, and definitely one is the offensive line. They played all 17 games together this year. We had 1,000-yard rusher this year. I'd have to say running the ball and the offensive line was a bright spot for the Jets. So big up to the Jets offensive line. And one of the biggest things we're going to need next year, of course, is a quarterback. That's first and foremost. But to have a quarterback want to come here, I think an offensive line makes a difference. And hopefully that is the case because the Jets have a young offensive line. I like their running back stables. So that is definitely a positive for the Jets. Second positive is draft capital. This year they have 2 first rounders and 2 second rounders due to the midseason trades that Darren Muji made. So I have trust in Muji only in the sense that I think he made some good deals to bring in the receivers midseason. I also like Briggs, the defensive lineman that Muji brought in. I think he has some talent. Hopefully, you could get these first and second round pick and get some talent in here. I personally want the Jets to go all defense. And one of the reasons I want the Jets to go all defense, you look up here on my screen. I have up on my screen is point differential. How many points you score, points for, how many points against, meaning your defense is giving up points. And I think this is a key stat. And if you look at the top 5 or 6 teams, they score at least 24 points a game, and it ranges from 24 to 30 points a game. So this is the cream of the crop in terms of points scored per game in the NFL. That's the Seahawks, Rams, Patriots, Jaguars, Bills, and the Houston Texans. I like this particular stat because it gives you a well-rounded view of your team, right? Number one, how are we doing offensively? Are we scoring points offensively? Number two, are we keeping points off the board from the defensive standpoint? Now, to do that, you could score points on special teams, meaning your field goal kickers making points, you're scoring extra points, that kind of stuff. It also impacts the defense. Is your defense forcing turnovers, giving your offense a short field where they can score points? The reason I like this stat is because it gives you a view of how well your team is playing in all 3 phases of the game. And as you can see here, 2 of the 3 teams in the top 3 here were in the Super Bowl. Seattle and the Patriots. And then the Rams lost to Seattle. So I think next year this is going to be a key stat you need to look at during the season. Point differential. And this is the cream of the crop. Let's see where the Jets are. Let's just check here. The Jets finished in absolute last place, which tells you they're not scoring enough points. They only score 17, 18 points a game, and they give up almost 30 points a game. They're in dead last in terms of point differential. I found this one stat that I found pretty interesting, that the New York Jets, the first team in NFL history to finish in last place in all 3 categories: point differential, turnover differential, and yards per game differential. The Jets completed a trifecta. So when it comes to this upcoming season in terms of what I want the Jets to do, how I would fix the New York Jets, number one, in the draft, I would go all defense. Completely 100% all defense. So now, if you want to say in terms of what player you want to pick the kid from Reese from Ohio State, I don't have a problem with it. I think he's going to be a really good NFL player. I personally like the kid from Texas Tech. I want the edge rusher. Personally, I would prefer to take him in terms of his sacks and tackles for loss. I'll take the kid from Texas Tech, number one. So I would draft defense with my second pick overall. The Jets also have the number 16 pick that they got in the trade for Sauce Gardner, I would go defense there. And I would get the best, whoever's left on the board in terms of stopping the run. That's the person I would take. So I would get an edge rusher at number 2. And at number 16, I would take whoever is the best run stopper. In terms of sacks, those will come because I think if you have the edge rushers and you have the big man pushing the pocket, give me the best defensive lineman over 320 pounds in the draft. That's who I would take with the second pick for the Jets. I would go all defense, all 100% defense, because you lose 5 consecutive games, more than 23 points a game in all 5 games, and you gave up almost 30 points a game, you got to go defense. That's how I personally feel. Now, a lot of people are going to say, oh, but what about the offense? You only scored 17, 18 points a game. The Jets, in terms of QBR rating, got the worst quarterback play in the history of the NFL last year. If you literally just bring in an average quarterback, I really believe this, bring in an average quarterback in this coming season, and then I say the following season, draft a quarterback with those 3 first-round picks next year, bring in an average bridge quarterback this year, I can live with that. I'm going 100% defense. I think an average quarterback will get this 17.65 points a game up in the 20s, 22, 23. I mean, the league average is 23 points a game. Give me an average quarterback behind center for the Jets, and I think things will improve on the offensive side. I think it's an easier fix on the offensive side. Number 1, you need a quarterback that's halfway competent. The Jets did not have that last year, period. They did not have it. Give me an average quarterback. I would say in free agency, bring in receivers in free agency. You can maybe draft a receiver later in the draft. My understanding is that the draft is deep at receiver. So draft a receiver later in the draft to help the offense. But if you have an average quarterback with a running game, which the Jets have, with a young offensive line, which the Jets have, so the Jets have some things moving in their favor. But the question is, do we make the right choices in free agency, and do we make the right draft picks? But I am hopeful that the Jets can make the right choices. Another positive, the Jets special teams was actually special this year. They scored touchdowns. They got short fields for the offense. But the problem is the offense couldn't do anything with the ball. If you're making these punt returns and kickoff returns and you're getting a short field, we didn't have a quarterback that could move the ball down the field to get into, even field goal range or get in the red zone and score points, right? I am telling you, an average quarterback, the Jets will go from 17 points a game to give me 21 points a game, for Christ's sakes. So that's my hope. In terms of the quarterback, me personally, I would love to have Willis from Green Bay. I've seen him play with my own eyes. He drops back, he throws the ball, he gets the ball out quickly, he gets it out in rhythm. And I've seen him play a couple of times this year. I like Willis. He's my favorite. I'm not really enamored with any of these other guys. Cousins, Mac Jones played very well, by the way. And he seems like one of these redemption quarterbacks, like Willis, a redemption quarterback, meaning at their first stop, they didn't play well. Maybe the situation wasn't, right, wasn't a right fit at the time. But I think Willis and Mac Jones are my favorite too. And then third would be Kyler Murray. People are saying, Murray, the heart isn't in football. Well, listen, in terms of the talent, I think Murray has some talent. Is he an average quarterback? That's all I'm looking for. I'm not asking for a superstar this year. So get me an average quarterback. Draft a receiver late in the draft. Maybe also late in the draft, go with a guard, some kind of interior offensive lineman to keep building on the offensive line depth. But I will go defense. I want an edge rusher. Get me the kid from Texas Tech and get me the best defensive lineman run stopper in the draft. I think Woods from Clemson, I would love to get him with the Jets' second pick. And then you can fill in terms of free agency. So that is kind of my plan. Average quarterback for the New York Jets. they'll look a little better with the offense. Draft a receiver. Don't use a receiver with the first two picks. Use a late second rounder or something like that. But I want to go all defense. You also got to get somebody to replace Quentin Williams. So that's why I want the run stopper from Clemson. You can never be without enough edge rushers, especially in the AFC East. You got to deal with the Patriots QB, May. You got to deal with Josh Allen. You got to have a stable of pass rushers. So get me Texas Tech defensive end, and that's the start. And in terms of free agency, you just keep building around. You add more depth, but I would go mostly defense. Bring some people in on offense, yes, but the key is going to be the quarterback. In terms of Willis from Green Bay, I think he's going to get a long-term deal, and I think that's going to be the problem for the Jets because I think the Jets are looking for a bridge this year and then draft a quarterback next year. That's really it. I mean, you got 2 first-rounders this year, you got 2 second-rounders this year, and then next year you're going to have a bunch of first-rounders. That is the hope for the Jets. And you got almost $80 million to spend this year to fill some holes. The Jets they were like a junior football team. Like, get some talent on this team. You got new coaches. Coach these guys up. And for Christ's sakes, get these guys ready to play this year. And I'm hoping for a different result this year. Got to be able to stop the run. You can't give up 29 points a game. And you can't be in the teens in terms of scoring. You got to get up here in the low 20s, 24 points a game, Jets. 24 points a game. And defensively, a lot of work to do. Losing, 23 points by 23 points in 5 consecutive games is a complete embarrassment. I think I like having Briggs on the defensive line. I think that was a good trade. Getting the 2 receivers, I think, a lot of people say, oh, you brought in these 2 receivers late and the guys didn't do anything. The guys weren't productive. We had no quarterback. You're not going to be productive without a quarterback. So judge these receivers this coming year with an average quarterback. And I think the numbers are going to be a lot better. That's just my take. It all starts and ends with the quarterback on offense. So I think these late receivers brought in last year are a great idea. I think they're going to improve. I think they're going to be better. The young tight end from last year is only going to get better in the second year. And get these guys in training camp and OTAs, get them working together. But we need, on the offensive side, we need to figure out who the quarterback's going to be. On the defensive side, just bring in everybody. Drafting in terms of free agency, get the best players available. I would like young players on their second contract in that 26 to 30 range in terms of age. It's up to the GM. It's up to the scouting to find these guys. Even for these draft picks in the 4th round, you find teams selecting ballers in the 4th round. Jets are going to need to do that to catch up because they're so far behind and devoid in talent. And that is my hope for the New York Jets. Number 1, quarterback. You need to bring in an average quarterback. You bring in an average quarterback, you have Breece Hall, you have an offensive line, you have Garrett Wilson, you got the 2 receivers they brought in last year, late in the season. Draft a receiver and bring in a receiver in free agency. That's the start on offense. On defense, you have to be able to stop the line. You got to be able to stop the run, and you need to get pressure on the quarterback. Texas Tech edge rusher. That's who I would take. I won't be mad if we brought in Reese, but that's a start. Second pick, got to get the best run stopper in the draft. Pair him with Briggs next year, and that's your base, right? That's your foundation. Up the middle, right there. Stop the run, tackles for loss, pressure on the quarterback, and you're going to get that 29 points a game, get that down to 24 points a game, right? And then you're scoring about 23 points a game. You could be somewhere around a 500 team. Let's look at where, even last year, look at the numbers in terms of teams that were around 23, 24 points a game, right? This is all I'm asking for the Jets for next year, right? You're building this thing in different stages and different steps. I'm just asking for league average here. Look at these teams. The Steelers, they scored 23, gave up 22. I'm asking for the Jets. Go from 29 to about 22, 23, and move up from 17 to about 21, 22, 23. And look, Pittsburgh won 10. They were 10-7. I'm Jets. You can get to 9-8 next year if you improve. Okay, the Vikings had a point differential. They scored 20 points a game, gave up 19. I'm not asking to be a miracle worker here, Jets. I'm asking you to be average next year. I'm not asking you to score 28 points a game and give up 17. Be in the league average, and you're around a 500 team. So you literally could, if you really focus on defense, you add some more talent on offense, you could win 8 or 9 games. Oh, praying to the heavens. Praying to the heavens. And then next year, you'll have all those first round picks and you could really, really go in. That is the plan to fix the New York Jets. So what do you guys think? It is possible. It is possible for the Jets to win 7, 8, 9 games next year, which would be doubling your win total. Now, you also got to look at the league because, the Dolphins have a fire sale. I expect New England got money to spend. Buffalo's got new coaching. You also got to look at the league also, the division. They're making improvements. Buffalo still have Josh Allen, and New England are going to have May for years, and they're going to have great coaching in New England. So the Jets have a lot of work to do. This is only a start, but you got to start somewhere. Jet fans, what do you think? Am I crazy? I would love to hear your opinion. Do you go all defense? And my question to you, if you only had to choose one or the other, would you go all defense this year or all offense this year? I would personally go all defense. It's embarrassment. 30 points a game, complete and last place in terms of points per game. Got to fix that if you're going to have a chance. Guys, hit me up. I want your feedback. Love to hear what you guys' thoughts are. All right? Talk soon and peace.